Think of the worst cook you've ever met. If you've ever met me, then that's who you're thinking of right now. Now, don't reveal my identity. Whew. Do you want to know my favorite home-cooked meal? I'll tell you. Take a jar of peanut butter. Go ahead and open the jar. I need to be very explicit in my instructions here, because if you're even 1/10 as bad as me, you'll find a way to mess this up. Take a spoon, insert the spoon into the jar. No, you idiot! Take the concave end of the spoon and insert it into the peanut butter through the hole at the top of the jar. Good. Now, lift the spoon, place the peanut butter in your mouth. Great, great. You've just prepared my favorite home-cooked meal. Out of everything I make, this comes out the best. Sometimes I can make instant ramen, spaghetti, or even a sandwich, but those dishes are extremely complicated and often end up ruined. Oh, you don't believe me? Ha 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 ha, good. Of course, I was just joking. I'm not that bad. But for some reason, I can cook over an open flame. I guess it's some remnant from my pyromaniac Boy Scout days, but I do a great job grilling burgers and hot dogs. As long as I have a real fire instead of a stove. I can even bake, as long as I use a Dutch oven. And my s'mores? I've had 60-year-old men break down in tears, declaring that I have truly made the world's best s'mores. When I was a Boy Scout, I was a real Boy Scout. We used knives and made fires and peed on fires. We went camping with nothing but an orange and an egg. We ate the orange, then used the peel to fry the egg. Now, your boys are vegan, and your men are gay, and your scouts are girls. We were Boy Scouts, not sissy scouts. We foraged in the wilderness for our food. I once tracked a squirrel for 5 hours and then sniped him with a homemade blowgun. We made squirrel stew seasoned with herbs and fruit that we'd gathered ourselves. The only food we ever brought with us was marshmallows. They don't make marshmallows like they used to. Now they use artificial stuff. Marshmallows in the good old days. That was how you made a s'more. I have searched my whole life, questing to finally find a s'more as good as those in my youth. But alas, I despaired of success. But this s'more you made, it surpasses all others I have ever eaten. You have truly given me hope for the future. I can now die content, knowing that I have once again achieved my life's purpose. But even if I'm cooking outdoors, if I'm using a stove, the food will turn out rotten. One time, I managed to both overcook and undercook spaghetti noodles. I don't know how, but the outside was mushy and the inside was hard. Another time, and I guess this is just common sense, but when it comes to cooking, I don't have common sense. The scout who was supposed to buy vegetable soup for our patrol decided that instead of spending $10 buying a bunch of cheap soup for 10 boys, he'd spend $6 buying a single small can of fancy soup for himself and just bought regular vegetables for the rest of us. Did I mention that this was during a burn ban? So he got to eat his cold vegetable soup, and the other boys decided not to eat. But I was not going hungry, so I mixed up some raw potatoes, carrots, and onions in a bowl, and started eating. Raw potatoes are nasty. I would tell you to go try one if you don't believe me, but I think I can get into legal trouble for recommending viewers to do dangerous activities. Don't try this one at home. The most often told story of my inability to cook also took place at a campout. We were grilling some breakfast sausage on a stove, and by we, I mean someone else was grilling the breakfast sausage, and I volunteered for cleanup duty. When they handed out the sausage, I thought they still looked a bit pink. I alone decided to fire up the stove and cook my sausage a bit more. What could go wrong, right? They were already cooked. The other boys thought they were done enough to be safe, so it couldn't get less safe, right? Worst case, I would horribly burn the sausage. But I've learned to eat burned food a long time ago. I alone got sick later that day. Like seriously, just by touching the food, I somehow made it worse. From that day on, whenever anyone was preparing food and I'd walk by, they'd yell, "Food circle! Food circle! Get away! Get away!" When my younger brother was in Cub Scouts, they had a father-son cake competition. My dad couldn't go, so I helped my brother bake a cake the only way I knew how, with a Dutch oven. I made some kind of fusion between a chocolate cake, cherry cobbler, and a cheesecake. If I find my recipe, I will put it on my website. The cake was amazing, truly. A few other Boy Scouts attended the event. It's free cake after all, and when one of them heard I was responsible for the Dutch oven cake, his mind was blown. You? You made this? You have got to give me the recipe. If you tried to cook and it came out like this, oh man, I've got to see what it tastes like when a normal person cooks it. Insulting? Sure. True? Definitely. Speaking of cooking, my girlfriend and I are going on an adventure to learn how to cook. Wait, you're just trying to impress them. You don't have a... If you check out the blog on our website, we'll be uploading some recipes and commentary.
Check out the blog.
Also, consider subscribing and leaving a comment if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the notification bell if you want a warning next time I post a video.